Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
We're getting started.
We're getting started.
We're gonna let a few more people come on in. Come on in.
Come on in. Come on in.
It would be nice if you could hit that like button as you come
You
in.
could hit that like button as you come
We're
in.
just gonna go over
We just
where
gonna
we
go
are.
over
We're tracking
where
everything.
we are. We're tracking everything.
Yeah. So we're gonna give a few more people time to come on in here.
A few more people trying to come on in here.
All right. 'Cause this is one of the most important times of our lives right now. We're going through uncharted territory, unforeseen events. We got a lot of news to get to y'all today. What's the weather like where y'all are? It's gotten hot again here in Texas. It's still raining every day, like North Texas rather. We're getting a lot of rain, which is not necessarily normal for this time of year. We usually get a little rain comes and then the cold front comes and that's it. But the rain came, the cold front came, and it got back hot. It's supposed to be mid 80s today, close to 90 degrees. Getting ready to get started. Trying to let a few more people come on in, and we'll go ahead and break this news down that we have today. I guess while we're waiting for everybody, I could go ahead and get started with some entertainment news, maybe. Um, let's take a look here. Well, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Well, if it's Monday, it's Beyond Babbitt. And this is your host, Brian Anthony. Glad you can join us today. Um, let's go ahead and get started with some entertainment news. It's not really entertainment, it's devastating, letting us know the times that we're in here. Well, looks like the feds are busting the rap game. Yep, you heard it right. Not just the rap game. It looks like the whole entertainment industry is under such scrutiny right now. And these things tend to happen as the economy constricts, gets tighter. So, what do we have? This year, there's been a string of things that the feds have done, and a number of guys that they've busted. Uh, the entertainment world, music, and Hollywood. So, remember earlier this year, the feds busted King Yella, a rapper out of Chicago who's in Las Vegas. Okay, and then they got YNB Stretch Gang, Nine Nizzle. Yeah, a rapper out of Dallas. I think he's still in custody. Okay. So this last week, Dash Dillinger, after he just celebrated, Suge Knight, if you didn't know, finally went to trial and did a plea deal, and he caught for 18 years. He caught for 18 years. I'm sorry, not 18, 28 years. The guy is already 53 years old. 53 years old, and he caught for 28 years. He's looking like 83 years old before he gets out. Come on, man. Lifespan of an African American in the United States, 83 is a little above average. So Daz did his little celebration and act like he was thanking God, blasphemy, and because he didn't like Daz. I mean, he didn't like Suge, and even though he was on death row, rumor is they used to get into it. Suge was a blood, Daz is a Crip, and they say Suge used to slap him around and stuff like that. So now that Suge's gone, man, I mean, how could you be happy that this man is about to die in prison? So it wasn't even a full 24 to 48 hours after Daz went live celebrating how Suge is gone for 28 years, telling his son, call your father, he needs you. Celebrating, I'm talking about. Then he got caught up in Georgia. Now, Daz Dillinger was with the Dog Pound, was with Snoop Dogg, been on tour and everything. So was with Death Row. He had opportunities to make millions. He supposedly did make millions. And on marijuana brand, uh, he has the Moon Rocks and different strains of marijuana that's legal in California. Bunch of different merchandise, marijuana and hemp, even a marijuana drink, right? But he happens to live in Georgia. So in his home in Georgia, he had a lot of his products from California in his home in Georgia. Even though it's packaged like in vacuum seal, writing on it that you can sell it in the store, it's legal in California. It is not legal in Georgia. So they raided his house in Georgia, busted him. I don't know if he was trying to distribute it or if he just had some because he's going to be in Georgia and he's not going to be going back and forth to California. So he had a stock of it to last him away. I don't know. But he's been hit with 13 felonies. 13. And in Georgia, they're tough on drugs. It's been said that in Georgia, you can murder somebody and get off with a tap on the hand. But when it comes to drugs, marijuana, cocaine, any kind of drug, they're going to throw the book at you. So now Daz is facing 13 felonies. He's already out. He bailed out or whatever, but I don't know, man. So this is, like I say, as the economy constricts, they're looking at every last dollar. So we know that Dash Dillinger, Suge Knight. How about Bill Cosby? Bill Cosby's in his 80s right now and got 3 to 10 years. Wow, man. Can you imagine that, man? I mean, what is bad enough, that somebody would wait 40 years, to try to come up with some allegations. There's no proof, a lot of circumstantial, a lot of forgotten details, but it's enough to convict you. Take everything you got, everything you worked for, your entire life. I mean, your granddad, he's a granddad. He's probably a great granddad. And he's going to jail. He's in jail already, 3 to 10 years. He's in his 80s already. Man, come on. We don't even know if this man will make 3 years. We don't know if he'll make 10 years. And we know all this problem started with Bill Cosby when he tried to buy the TV station. We know that. What they say, you're getting too big. What was that? I think that was on a couple of movies. They told Goldie that in the Mac, and they told Scarface that. Yeah, man. Did they tell Superfly that in the first original Superfly? Anyway, But you shouldn't have never danced with the devil, man. All the people in Hollywood and the big stars, there's certain things they have to do to get there, and certain things they have to do to stay there. There's rules that you have to play by, and at any time they have the goods on you. They can flush you because you played ball, you dance with the devil, and it's rare that you get a clean break from that. And your favorite rapper, clout chasing guy, who got on and is big right now from the internet, 6ix9ine. He was in Dubai this last week, and while taking pictures and celebrating and all this in Dubai, feds raided his house. Feds raided his house. Took boxes of stuff. They said he found a gun. Now, from my understanding, they said the feds have a 98% conviction rate. I'll repeat that. 98% conviction rate. Conviction rate. There's no getting out on good behavior or anything like that. Um, he's still out. Matter of fact, I believe yesterday he went to the hospital in Dubai to get a CAT scan. He was in the desert in the sun too long, so maybe that's going to be his cop out. But oh, it's getting serious. He, Shotty, his manager, Treyway. He stopped following him on what was that, the gram or something, Instagram. Anyway, something like that. But it's getting serious out there. It's getting serious out there. That's not it though. That's not all. Young Thug. He was caught in California about a week ago, right before Dash Dillinger, in California with guns and drugs, and he has 8 felonies. 8 felonies. Looking at 8 felonies. And California getting caught with a gun is bad news, man. Um, so we'll see how that turns out. And then now the feds, okay, so Lil Wayne dropped the Carter 5 last week. And after that, the feds announced that they're investigating Young Thug, not for the 8 felonies he just got, but Young Thug and Birdman for the incident that happened a few years ago when Cash Money and Young Money Records were splitting up. Lil Wayne and Birdman were and just so happens Lil Wayne's tour bus was shot up. It was shot up. So they caught the guy who did it. Young Thug's manager. He took the charge. Got 20 years. Okay. Now they're coming back to investigate Young Thug and Birdman to see like maybe y'all was the ones who sent this guy. Yeah, maybe y'all had something to do with it. So that's how the ball bounces, I guess. That's how things go. Mm. Okay. So now what's going on in what's going on in real world news? This is what we want to know: the economic news and the war news and things like that. The War and Peace report, maybe. Now, years ago, I'd say it's been anywhere from what is this, 2018? I'd say anywhere from 3 to 5 years ago. Um, V, the guerrilla economist, and that's what he did. He used to be real accurate with calling the stocks and talking about the economic things that are going on around the world. And he was real accurate with calling how it's going to go up or down, and sideways or whatever. So he said that when the Dow reached 30,000, it was going to crash. 30,000 Dow was it. Well, today it's like we're reaching new highs. We're close to 27,000 right now on the Dow. It's going higher and higher. Um, and then Lindsey Williams, he was had a insider friend. um, an insider friend who used to tell him, it's been for a number of years, maybe for probably about 10 years now, been telling them what's going on and how the economy is going to do and World War and the laws and the first Q, in other words. Before QAnon came out, speaking directly to the public, it was people speaking to Lindsey Williams and he was releasing that information. No matter how far fetched it sounded, a lot of it came to pass, just like he said, because the oil prices were 100, 120. He was like, "No, it's not going to keep rising. It's going to go to $50." People laugh at him. It went to 50. And you tell it, oh, it's going to this, it go to that. So there's no way he was calling this off the wall stuff and getting it right by accident. So his insider was a real. So Lindsey Williams said, not on his latest release, but the one before that, he was saying that the elite are saying that um, the only place to make money is going to be in the stock market. And he was saying that the Dow was going to be, it's going to be 30,000. The Dow Jones was going to be 30,000 to 40,000 before it actually crashed. And we're getting awfully close to 30,000. We could probably break that this week or next week because it shot up. It shot up this week. Regardless of the news we get, uh, good or bad, stocks continue to go higher. Um, Silver and gold, whether the dollar goes up or goes down, and silver and gold, priced in dollars, continues to get hit and go lower. Um, J.P. Morgan Chase no longer has a shortage of silver. At one time, Max Kaiser, wanted to sink them. He was like, buy silver, you'll crash J.P. Morgan Chase. Well, the price went so low, everybody was like, sell, sell, sell. And guess what? J.P. Morgan bought, bought, bought. Now they have about $1 billion surplus of silver and still buying silver and gold. See, they always say, follow the smart money. Do what the smartest people in the room are doing. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at all-time highs on the stock market right now. What about this? Well, Iran has fired missiles into Syria at the rebel group. Looks like the offensive to clear out the rest of the rebels may be about to start. The U.S. is on one side of that battle, and Russia and Iran and Syria are on the other side. So we're looking at a few fronts here with Russia. Uh, Ukraine and Crimea is one hot spot. Syria is the other hot spot. Russia and Iran have been invited in to help clear out the bad guys. And we have advisors in advising the so-called rebels who are the bad guys, according to Russia and Iran. So they're hiding amongst hundreds of thousands of people, and we're saying, don't you go in there and start no trouble because you could cause a humanitarian crisis by killing innocent civilians. So we're telling Russia, Syria, and Iran to back. You know. So what else is in the news? Oh, did you hear? NAFTA is out. NAFTA is out. So that agreement is gone. We have reached a deal with Mexico because what is NAFTA? North American Free Trade Agreement. Yeah, it was another deal that was screwing us, but Trump has gotten rid of that, and now he's doing a deal directly with Mexico, and he's doing a deal directly with Canada. And Canada is kind of slow warming up to it, but it looks like we got the deal with Mexico done, and it should be getting signed here shortly. Well, let's talk about because there's some more stuff on this World War III front. So China was supposed to be meeting with Trump, right? They canceled it. They canceled the meeting with Trump regarding the trade war. Uh, that's ratchet up in the escalation. As a matter of fact, they said, we're not going to send our top delegation to talk to you about that. You're not going to talk to the president. You're not going to talk to the top delegation. Matter of fact, you're going to talk to the peons. You are going to talk to the peons. So that's the ultimate disrespect. Slap in the face. They're telling you you're not important enough to speak to anyone with any authority, to anyone who has the ability to do anything. Matter of fact, speak to our third string, our bench warmers. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that meeting is still going to go through or not. Okay. And then Russia turns down talks with Israel over the missiles in Syria. Uh, Israel wanted to talk to Putin to tell him, hey, man, look, we don't need these missiles in Syria. Russia declined to talk. See, now that's when you know that World War III is getting closer, when all these major players are deciding we don't even want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? If there's no talk, it's just, what is it going to be? It's going to be war. It's going to be action. So after that, Israel decided, hey, let's meet with Trump. I mean, basically our ally. Let's find out how we're going to move forward with this. What are we going to do? Because Russia's opposing us. And then last week, Iran had a parade, right? A military parade celebrating 70 years. So, you know, North Korea had theirs earlier this year. So they were celebrating 70 years. You know, it's been 70 years since World War II. So that's why all these countries are having, you know, because after every major war, World War One, World War Two, World War Three, the map lines are redrawn, countries are created, countries are destroyed, countries shrink, countries get bigger, and so that's what's happening now. And so while Iran was having this parade televised on their national television, there were some people in their military parade dressed in Iranian uniforms who turned out to be terrorists. And they took out weapons and started shooting just indiscriminately. Blah, 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 blah. A bunch of people were shot. A bunch of people were killed. I think it was like 50 shot and 25 killed or something like that. And Iran blamed it on the U.S. They said it's U.S. It's the U.S. handprint. They said it was your flunkies, your lackeys, you know, your little paramilitary group that you sent in here to do this. And so they over there saying, you know, we're strong, and you know, in other words, saying it's going to be a consequence for that, consequences for that. They're blaming the U.S. They didn't. So apparently, the people who did the shooting weren't U.S. citizens, but they're saying, well, y'all work for America, so it's a U.S. fault. I don't know how they find that, how they know that, but either way it go, whoever they work for, they're saying it's the United States fault. So it's gonna get tough, man. It's gonna get tough. Meanwhile, you know, what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about the stuff that's happening now? I mean, what do you think about the Kavanaugh stuff? Did anybody watch the Kavanaugh hearings for Judge and what's the woman, Ford? Well, there's a lot I can say about that. And matter of fact, let me speak on it. Now, first of all, I have to say this. I do not support any type of sexual misconduct, sexual molestation, or rape, or what does she call it? And she said he basically grinded on her with all the clothes on her. She said she was sexually assaulted. Usually that word means rape, right? But there was no rape that took place. I watched it. I watched it that day. I watched it pretty much the whole thing. I watched. It is. It is a distraction. It is, but it's a good distraction. So the woman, as she testified, yes, 36 years ago, as she testified, they would ask her things. This is how it was. Do you know every almost like every question she looked to the lawyers, see what they tell her, and then when they asked her something specific about it, I don't remember, and she go to looking through her papers, trying to find the answers, and she tried to fake cry. No tears came down. She just little whiny voice. She named four witnesses who were there. All the witnesses gave sworn testimony under the threat of perjury, which is a felony, saying that they don't remember the party or the party never took place or that they weren't there or they don't remember Kavanaugh being there. No one can corroborate the story. So she's the only one who remembers this, right? But the Democrats kept pushing, oh, FBI, FBI, FBI. I forgot the name of the guy who was at the chair. He's like, well, this letter was sent to the FBI, and then they sent it to us saying case closed. So case closed. He was going to go forward. There was a lot of shenanigans. They found out that Feinstein, when she got it, she sat on it for something like 90 days. Had been interviewing Kavanaugh, had all the information, and right before the confirmation, look what we found. We got to delay it now. We got to investigate this. And so they're saying is, shenanigans, and which it is. So I found that the lady, Dr. Ford, her testimony was rubbish. Just to put it honestly, to be blatant, she couldn't remember. Okay, so they went. This is one thing that I saw that when they showed the house on the map, it showed where she lived and showed where the party is supposed to have taken place. Bird miles, which is air, not following the roads, just from A to B, something like 9 miles. The doctor said, oh, yeah, it's 20 minutes by car. Whoa. If it's 20 minutes by car, about an hour on foot, would you say? So she's saying she's saying that she doesn't know how she got to the party, but she knows she didn't drive because she said she didn't have a driver's license. She's saying she doesn't know whose house it was. Okay. She's saying she doesn't know how she got back home, but she said she didn't walk and she didn't drive. Come on, that's too much information that's blurred. Everything they asked her was like, I don't know, I can't remember. So apparently you don't have enough to even bring a case. You can't. Come on. Nobody, your witnesses say that it didn't happen. I mean, I think you should. I mean, then you're a doctor, right? And they're asking you questions. You be like, what does that mean? Got to be the dumbest doctor I've ever seen in my life. Basic, simple things. You don't know what it means? How'd you get to be a doctor? And you're not just a medical doctor. You're like a psychologist. You're supposed to have it there, definitely. So, yeah, it's a farce. Her testimony was coerced. And the Senate proceeded with the vote um, to be like, are we going to, vote to vote or not? And they voted to vote. And the Dems walked out. requesting the FBI investigation, and Trump did. He gave them what they want, limited. He said 1 week. But then now they're saying that they're going to start looking at the liars too. I'm like, uh-oh. So the people who come in there and lie, false testimony, I think they're going to try to charge them because now the FBI have to check your side of the story too to see if, if any of this is true or not. And I'll be honest with you, someone who does that, they deserve to go to prison. I think the good doctor should get about 10 years. 10 years in prison. I mean, you come in there lying on the guy, right? Your witnesses can't corroborate your story. You don't have, there's too many holes in it. There's nothing solid there, nothing. And this man has been a judge for 12 years. This man is old. This man, I mean, not old, but I mean, he's what, in his 50s? The stuff you talking about happened when he was in high school. Come on, man. High school. So he been out of high school at least a good 30, 40 years. Come on, 36 years ago. And you just not coming forward. Why didn't you come when he was a judge already for 12 years? You see what I'm saying? It's a scam, man. So I hope they do look into her testimony and Feinstein and her lawyers, and I hope they all get what they deserve. Get what's coming to them, man. You're trying to tear a man's life down. This man is, married with kids. You dragging other people's name in it, don't know nothing about it. You lying on them, and they already wrote in and said, well, we need to interview them. Well, if they already wrote the letter saying, I don't know nothing about it, why are you going to interview them? Because you know what they're going to say when you interview them? Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's a farce. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. That's how I know there's a silent coup. We're in a civil war right now. Hot war getting ready. Speaking of hot war, last week, I think this may have been Friday, somewhere towards the end of last week, the U.S. flew 2 B-2 bombers escorted by Japanese fighter jets over the South China Sea. Why is that? Why is that important? Why is that significant? B-2 bombers are nuclear bombers. Yes, they drop nuclear bombs. So anywhere we fly them, any place we fly over with them, because I don't believe these are like the missiles where you drop them and they go forward. These are like the gravity bombs. This is what I have to look into this, but the first time, we're the only country who's ever used a nuclear weapon in war, a full-scale nuclear weapon. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there's been some miniature nukes used, but we dropped it on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and these were gravity bombs. You open the hatch and so we flew the B-2 bombers over the Chinese islands, the disputed islands in the South China Sea, that they're claiming is theirs, and escorted by Japanese fighter jets. But don't you know that made the Chinese steaming mad? So it's like the next day, the Chinese started a live fire drill with their Air Force in the South China Sea. In other words, saying, fly that through here again. We're going to see. You know what I'm saying? China is not backing down. Like I said before, everywhere our military is, China's military is. China's in Afghanistan. China's in Iraq. China's in Syria, right? China's, we have a military base in Djibouti in Africa. China does as well. I mean, it's like they're trying to, at every spot. So this is how World War I started. The European nations, I know you know about in 1880 and 1885, the Geneva Convention and the Conference of Berlin, to where all the West, the European nations had a map of the world, but they specifically had a map of the continent of Africa and the Middle East. The first time they met, they drew like a pie. You get this part, you get this part, you get this part, you get this part, you get this part. They met again in 5 years. 1885, and they were like, okay, well, go in and take it. They didn't tell the people who lived on the continent of Africa that we coming, we done already divided, this ours, we done already divided it up on paper, and we finna come get it. So 1885, that's what they did. They went in there. Now remember, the World War One didn't start till like, what, 1913, 1914. Yeah. But the late 1800s, it was heating up. And so after they totally colonized Africa, split it up, you know, made all new countries and everything, changed the languages. Also, basically, the whole continent was under European influence. Then they started fighting each other. Okay, so they built the Suez Canal, they took the Middle East, and then they started fighting each other over European territories. Oh no, that's mine. Oh no, that's mine. And you know, they say it sparked off with the murder of Archduke Ferdinand, the assassination, and that's what really sparked it off. But it was already happening. And the same thing happened in World War II. Hitler was in Africa. Everybody was in Africa. It seems like, you know, Africa is always, the extra, the booty. Oh, we can get the oil, the gold, the minerals, the cobalt, the this, the that. And everybody started, ah. And now China's in Africa too. So, I already know that the West was in there. France and the U.S. and the British. Basically all the Western Europe. We know Russia's in there. Pakistan and India have gotten some shoots in the past few days. Oh, really? Wow. Shootouts. Uh-oh. This thing is heating up, man. And it's going to be a world war. That's what they call it. World war. So right now everybody's in Africa. China has China is masterful at they're making deals. They're like, oh, we got free money for everybody. Come sign right here on this dotted line in blood and get this money. And everybody, ooh, free money, hey! And they celebrating. They didn't take time to read the details of this. The spell, the black magic is in the terms of the agreement. Here, yeah, come get the goodies and sign on this dotted line. When you can't pay it back, you got to give it all up. We want this, we want this, we want your firstborn, we want this, give me that. Oh, and throw that in over there. Oh man, China's going through. So it's a lot of countries around the world, not just in Africa, but a lot in Africa. China got their tentacles, got their string, got the hook in the jaw. Ugh. We got you. We gave you the money. Now it's time to pay the piper. Oh, that's tough, man. India and Pakistan seems to be going at it. I'll have to definitely do some looking into that and get back at you. I remember like last year and the year before, it was going against China in the Doksam region. China was impeding on Bhutan, and Bhutan is a smaller country called on India, and it was a standoff. China was building a road through their territory, just unannounced, just building a road right through there. And then they're like, no, y'all can't. So China backed down. India went home. China went home. China came right back, sent the troops right back. Let's go. China's not going to be denied, man. They're going to be a force to reckon with. I even saw reports yesterday that, okay, so the Chinese people were caught in, where was that? One of the African countries. They had a restaurant and they shut it down. It was a brothel in the back, and they had dog legs hanging in the freezer. Where they thought they was ordering sweet and sour pork and sweet and sour chicken, and it was dog. True story. It was dog. And then one of them said they even one of the Chinese stores was selling human flesh as corned beef. I lost my appetite when I heard that. I'm like, man, no more Chinese food for me, man. Because that's here in Dallas, like in the '80s, there was a restaurant. I believe it was a Chinese restaurant. It was a Chinese or barbecue. they found dog heads in the trash can. So whatever the meat, there was dog meat they were selling as chicken and beef and pork. So nah, yeah, man, the nerve of some people, man. You know. But anyway, the thing is just heating up. The thing is heating up. So let me go back to the Kavanaugh thing right quick. Did I say that they said now they're going to go after the liars? I think I said that. I think I did mention that. The FBI probe that they opened up on Kavanaugh, they said they're also going to go after the liars. So, yeah, I think I mentioned that. So, yeah, they need to look into all these false claims because when you think about it, for anybody to get somewhere in society to a high level, when you go to school, you dedicate your life, you go to school, you work hard, you're in a position for a number of years, work your way up the ladder, no complaints, no accusations. And then when you're finally going to reach this final level to where you'll be at for life, set for life, or somebody from 30, 40 years ago, hey, remember you stepped on my shoe in kindergarten? And I'm taking you to court, and I'm going to take you all the way back down to a piece of bread. I'm going to take you back down to where you can only use your high school diploma. All the integrity, all the lives you've interacted with, all the people you've interacted with. No dirt, nothing from that. We're going to go back to before you was even legal, before you was 18, before you can drink alcohol, before you can even smoke a cigarette, before you was old enough to do that, before you were old enough to hold down a full-time job. We're going to go all the way back and say you did something. They need to do something about that. Anyway, FEMA is on the move, guys. And there's a lot of other things happening. I got footage, and you probably can find it. I have seen it posted on the internet that last week in Chicago, they had a black helicopter drill. It was a military helicopter, but it was black. And they also had a camouflage. I wish I knew the name of these type of helicopters. I don't. It was military helicopters flying through downtown Chicago, running drills with people in camouflage, flying low through the skyscrapers, in between buildings. I'm like, well, I mean, was this urban warfare? Are they practicing? Are we going to get invaded? Are they practicing going after the Koreans, the North Koreans, or the Chinese, or the Russians invading us here on U.S. soil? Or are they planning to round up all dissidents who don't, when they shut down the internet? Are they planning to round out all outstanders who, or when the flood hits, when the tsunami hits? Now, a lot of people think that this strange weather is being caused by things like HARP. The October surprise, yes, sir. You remember that the dollar is supposed to be gone by 2018. It's October. So, when you reminded me what Lindsey Williams said, his elite friends told him that the stock market is going to be the only place to make money in the world. How true is that statement? The real estate bubble is starting to crack. Oh, they're not reporting on that. Oh, it's starting to shut down. Not just in the United States, around the world. Oil, silver, gold, all that stuff is starting to go down. But you know where you can still make your money? Stocks. It's going up, 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 up. We're making new highs. It don't matter what kind of news comes out. We're making new highs in the stock market. We're making new highs almost weekly. So you know what to say. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So remember, 30,000, said V the Economist. 30 to 40,000, said Lindsey Williams. We're at almost 27,000. Not far. Not far. And that's if they called it right, exactly spot on. They could be off. It could happen now. Things are right around the world, So, with the helicopter in downtown Chicago, what are they planning? Did you see the tsunami? The tsunami that happened in Indonesia? Oh, man, it was like a what was it, a 6.7 earthquake, and the people were supposed to turn on tsunami warning. Instead of turning it on, because it's automatic, they turned it off. And so you had people playing on the beach, partying, and then just you seen the tide coming. Yeah, I mean it didn't look bad, but when it got close, it didn't stop. Usually you know how tide goes, and then it rolls back out. Well, this one rolled when it just kept on rolling, and it just kept on rolling. People said, ah! Man, there was a bunch of people killed in a tsunami. No warning device. No warning. These people are still on the beach. No sirens, no nothing telling them, hey, it's a big earthquake done happened and we having a tsunami watch or warning or whatever. No. Somebody went to sleep at the wheel. Was that on purpose? Or was that an accident? Man.